Welcome to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. On this show, we use the Triggator triangle, budget, save, and pay off debt to help you build a spending plan that fits your life, grow your savings with purpose, and knock out debt with confidence. Today's episode is one that I've been itching to talk about for a while. It's called Credit Card Detox, Breaking the Swipe and Stress Cycle. Now, before you clutch your wallet and whisper, "But Nate, I get points," take a breath. I've been there. I used to think I was gaming the system too, but spoiler alert, the house always wins. And in this case, the house is your credit card company. We're going to talk about why credit cards feel helpful, but often quietly sabotage your spending plan. We'll unpack the psychology behind points and perks and why they're not the savings you think they are. And if the idea of cutting up your credit cards makes you break into a cold sweat, don't worry. We'll walk through how to stop using them, even if you're scared to let go. Plus, I'll share what to expect in your first 30 days of a credit card detox. Here's a quick stat that might surprise you. According to a 2024 study by LendingTree, nearly 40% of all Americans, they carry credit card debt month to month. And the average interest rate right now is over 24%. That's not just expensive, it's exhausting. So if you've ever felt like you're stuck in the swipe now, stress later loop, this episode is your off-ramp. We're not here to shame, we're here to get clear, take action, and make progress. As the great Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, you've taken your first step into a larger world. Let's take that step together, no plastic required. The illusion of help, why credit cards feel useful but wreck your spending plan. Why do credit cards feel helpful but aren't? Let's start with a confession. Credit cards are sneaky little geniuses. They dress up like financial tools, but they often act more like financial traps. They whisper things like, "You've got this," while quietly nudging you into overspending, interest payments, and a cycle that feels like running on a treadmill with a backpack full of bricks. So why do they feel so helpful? It's psychology. Credit cards create a sense of financial distance. When you swipe, you're not just handing over cash. You're not even watching your checking account drop. You're just tapping. And that tap, it feels harmless. But according to a study published by the Journal of Consumer Research, people spend up to 100% more when they use credit cards compared to cash or debit. Why? Because the pain of payment is delayed and it's often even forgotten. That delay tricks your brain into thinking you're making smart choices, when in reality, you're just postponing consequences. The spending plan sabotage. Now, I'm not saying if you're using credit cards, you're reckless. I'm saying the system is designed to make you feel safe while you're spending more than you planned. And that's where your spending plan starts to unravel. Let me tell you a quick story. Years ago, I was at the hardware store buying some supplies for a DIY project. I had a spending plan in mind, $75 tops, but I had my rewards credit card in hand. I walked out with $180 worth of stuff, convinced that I was earning points and investing in my home. That project, well, it never really got finished. The points, they were worth about $3. The interest I paid, way more than any of that. That's the swipe and stress cycle. You swipe, you feel good, you stress later when the bill comes. And if you're carrying a balance, you're paying interest on things that you don't even remember buying. Here's another stat to chew on. According to the Federal Reserve's 2025 Consumer Credit Report, the average American household carries nearly $8,000 in credit card debt. As we said, those interest rates, they're hovering around 24%. That means you're paying nearly $1,900 a year just to borrow money that you've already spent. Let's pause here and ask the real question. Is that helpful? The credit card crutch. Credit cards feel like a safety net. They're marketed as tools for emergencies, travel, and convenience. but in reality, they often become a crutch. And like any crutch, they can keep you from building the strength you need to walk confidently with your own financial muscles. This is where the Triggator triangle comes in. When you budget actively, intentionally, you're telling your money where to go. When you save, you're building your own safety net. And when you pay off debt, you reclaim your income and your peace of mind. Credit cards don't fit into the triangle. They are like a fourth corner that doesn't belong. And if you're trying to build a life of financial clarity, action, and progress, it's time to take a hard look at whether they're helping or hurting. I know this isn't easy. Credit cards are woven into our culture. They're in our wallets, our apps, our airline miles, our hotel bookings. But just because something is common doesn't mean it's wise. As Proverbs 22:7 says, the borrower is servant to the lender. That's not fear-based messaging. That's clarity. And clarity is the first step towards freedom. So if you've ever felt like credit cards are helping you float through the next month, I want to challenge this idea. Floating, it isn't flying. And you were made to fly. The points trap. Why perks aren't real savings. Let's talk about the psychology of free. What we're talking about is the shiny bait. Points, perks, and cash back. These are the glittery promises credit card companies dangle in front of you like a carrot on a stick. Spend more, earn more, they say. Get rewarded for living your life. Sounds good, right? But here's the truth. You're not saving. You're spending. And often you're spending more than you would without the lure of rewards. In a 2023 study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, they found that consumers using rewards cards spent 12 to 18% more on average than those using debit or cash. Why? Because the brain interprets points as a discount, even when the math doesn't add up. This is the same trick used in retail. Buy one, get 50% off. You don't need two sweaters, but now you're walking out with both. Credit card perks work the same way. You're not saving, you're just spending with a smile. The dopamine loop. Here's where it gets really wild. Earning points, it triggers a dopamine response. That little rush of, I did something smart, kicks in every time you swipe and see your rewards balance climb. It's the same brain chemistry behind slot machines, social media likes, and yes, shopping sprees. And just like those other dopamine loops, it's designed to keep you coming back. Let me paint a picture. You book a flight using your rewards card. You feel savvy. You tell your friends. You even post about it. But behind the scenes, you've spent $3,000 over the last few months to earn that quote-unquote free flight. And if you didn't pay off that balance, that flight is costing you interest plus the stress of carrying debt. As Michael Scott once said in The Office, I declare bankruptcy. But unfortunately, shouting it doesn't make your debt disappear. The influencer illusion. You might be saying, but Nate, I see that one influencer on Instagram posting about the amazing trips they took on points. Don't I want that? Look, I get it. We all want free trips. But it's time to dust off an old saying that's been collecting cobwebs. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Sure, that influencer may have quote-unquote paid with points, but they had to pay for those points first. And here's the sneaky part. Credit card companies, they often pay influencers to promote their products. Why? Because they know the house always wins. If they can get someone with a following to show how glamorous life can be with perks, the credit card company, they'll happily cut that person a check, knowing full well that their followers will apply, swipe, and rack up interest. It's not about helping you travel, it's about helping them profit. Cashback isn't cash flow. Let's break down the math. Say you earn 1.5% cash back. That means for every $100 you spend, you get $1.50 back. But if you're paying 24% interest on a carried balance, you're losing $24 for every $100 spent. That's a net loss of $22.50. Would you trade $100 to get $1.50? Probably not. But that's what happens when we chase perks. And here's the kicker. Most people, they don't even redeem those points, let alone redeem them efficiently. A 2024 bank rate survey found that 31% of rewards go completely unused. That's like buying groceries and leaving a third of them at the store. The Triggator Triangle perspective. From the Triggator Triangle lens, perks, they are distractions. They pull you away from your spending plan. They tempt you to skip saving and delay your ability to pay off debt. Instead of chasing points, let's chase progress. Instead of cash back, let's build cash flow. Instead of perks, let's pursue with purpose. A better reward system. Here's a radical idea. What if your reward was peace of mind? What if your perk was financial clarity? What if your points came from watching your savings grow and your debt shrink? That's the kind of reward that doesn't expire. It doesn't require redemption, and it doesn't come with a monthly statement. So next time you're tempted by a limited time offer, remember, the best offer is the one you give yourself when you choose progress over perks. Letting go, how to quit credit cards and thrive without them. Let's be honest, stopping credit cards can feel like standing at the edge of a financial cliff. You know you need to jump, but your brain is screaming, "What if I fall?" That fear, it is real. Credit cards have become a safety blanket for millions of people. They're the just-in-case tool, the emergency backup, the way we book travel, rent cars, and sometimes even pay bills when cash is tight. But here's the truth. You don't need them to survive. You need a plan to thrive. As Tony Robbins says, change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. If you're tired of the stress, the interest, the monthly juggling act, then it's time to make the change. Step 1, stop the swipe. The first step in your credit card detox is simple. Stop using them. That doesn't mean you have to cancel them immediately. We're going to get to that later. It means you remove them from your wallet, your phone, your browser, your muscle memory. You delete them from Apple Pay. You remove them from autofill. Put the physical card in a drawer or freeze them in a block of ice if you're feeling dramatic. Yes, that is a real strategy, and yes, it's oddly satisfying. The goal here is to create friction. The harder it is to use the card, the less likely you are to reach for it. Step 2, build your spending plan. Now that you've stopped the swipe, it's time to build a spending plan that works without credit. Start by listing your income and then bringing in your expenses. We've talked about this in some prior episodes, so I won't get too far into it. I invite you to go back and listen to some of our last episodes on some of those specifics. Now, if there's a gap between your income and your expenses, don't panic. That's where clarity leads to action. Cut what you can, delay what's not urgent, and most importantly, budget with intention. Every dollar should have a job. Just a quick stat on that. In 2024, a study from the Financial Wellness Institute found that people who give every dollar a job, like in a zero-based spending plan, are twice as likely to avoid credit card debt compared to those who just wing it month to month. Step 3, create your peace of mind funds. One of the biggest fears people have when they quit credit cards is, what if something unexpected happens? This is where your peace of mind funds come in. Remember, for emergencies, start with $500, then aim for $1,000. Eventually, build towards 3 and ultimately 6 months of expenses. Get your alligator fund moving for those non-monthly expenses that can easily slip into card territory. This becomes your new safety net. It's your just in case and the I already need an oil change fund. And unlike a credit card, it doesn't charge interest or send you a bill. As Leslie from Parks and Recreation once said, I am big enough to admit that I am often inspired by myself. You'll be amazed at how empowering it feels to handle emergencies with your own money. What to expect in your first 30 days. The first month of credit card detox is a mix of emotions. You're going to feel proud. You're going to feel nervous. You're going to feel frustrated, and you're going to feel free. And this can all happen at once. Here's a breakdown of what to expect. Week 1, you'll feel the absence. You'll reach for the card out of habit. That's normal. Week 2, you'll start noticing your spending. You'll be more focused and be able to see where it's going. Every purchase is going to feel more intentional. Week 3, you might hit a wall. Maybe an unexpected expense pops up. Maybe one of those alligators comes up and tries to bite. This is where your peace of mind fund and your plan kick in. Week 4, you're going to feel the momentum. You're going to see the progress, and you'll realize you're doing it. And here's the best part. Once you've gone 30 days without using credit cards, you'll start to see them differently. They won't feel like tools anymore. They'll feel like traps that you escaped. The ring is mine, resisting the pull of the precious. Remember that moment in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King when Frodo stands at the edge of Mount Doom, ready to toss the ring that caused him so much pain, so much hardship, and so much sadness, and then he turns and says, "The ring is mine." That's how it can feel when you're standing at the edge of your own financial cliff, ready to let go of your credit cards. You've carried them for years. They've been your backup, your comfort, your precious. And just when you're ready to let go, you hear the whisper, "But what if I need it?" That's the moment of decision, and it's powerful. We don't want the story of Gollum, destroyed by the very thing he longed to hold on to. We want the story of freedom, of clarity, of peace. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. This is where the Triggator triangle shines. You're budgeting with clarity, you're saving with purpose, and you're paying off debt with confidence. You're not just detoxing from credit cards, you're reclaiming your financial power. So if you're ready to let go, know this: you're not falling, you're flying. You've made it to the end of Credit Card Detox. Cue the dramatic music because this was your Mount Doom moment. You stood on the edge, holding the precious plastic that caused you so much stress, setbacks, and sleepless nights. And you have chosen freedom. You didn't whisper, "The ring is mine." You tossed it in. That's not just brave, it's legendary. Today's challenge, it is simple but powerful. Commit to 30 days without using a credit card. That means no swiping, no tapping, no logging in just that once. Instead, use your spending plan and peace of mind funds, even if they're small, to guide your decisions. You're not just detoxing, you're building a new rhythm. And when the urge to swipe hits, remember you already dropped the ring into the fire. Let's keep the momentum going. If you've got a detox story or a precious moment of your own, I want to hear it. Email me at podcast@Triggator.com. Make sure that you subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if this episode helped you, leave a review. It helps more people find the show. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook @Triggator for daily motivation, behind the scenes content, and a few memes that might just make your day. Coming up next time, we are going to war, but in the best way possible. It's called the Debt Battle Plan, How to Fight Back and Win. We'll walk you through how to choose your weapon, whether it's the snowball, avalanche, or custom plan, how to build your personalized payoff strategy using the worksheet from the Triggator ebook. And you'll find those sneaky snowflakes to speed up your progress. If you've ever felt stuck or discouraged by slow momentum, this one's for you. Remember, you don't need a card to be confident. You don't need points to have purpose. And you definitely don't need debt to live a full, free, and fearless life. You've got what it takes. Now, go and take it. Thanks for listening to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm Nate Tanner, and I'll see you next time right here where we turn spending plans into peace of mind.